Welcome to House Education, March 10th, 2026. The committee for the next little bit's going to do a little work planning out the rest of our week. May not be the right time to hit like and subscribe.
Number one.
All right.
Mary Catherine's mom has probably moved on to the grandson. We have like one subscriber.
He's selling our committee.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll monetize that YouTube feed at some point. All right, so listen, we've got a lot of open space. We've got a lot of which we can just convert into Act 73 of 2025 draft map and policy discussion. But let's see if we can't focus that a little better on who we might want to hear from. However, before we do that, today we are going to get the markup, or we're going to get the latest version of chronic absenteeism. Like to send that out the door, even tomorrow if we're all feeling good about it. So we are being punctual with our bills. We have a miscellaneous ed bill that's sort of sitting out there still. There are a number of sort of outstanding questions with it. But if everybody would sort of get back over again, and it would be good to just sort of, if you feel like you need to hear testimony or if you need to talk to somebody outside the building or whatever, let's take that. Just another couple of other things. So crossover, we will have put out the PCD bill. We will have put out H802. That's just
Seems later.
short piece of language about the inflator. Maybe a better way to handle it than doing a standalone bill. That's to go through all the processes. PCB's that. Then we got chronic absenteeism, miscellaneous, and then Act 73 amendments, which means the stuff that we've been talking about. We've all had lots of time to think about everything. We sort of remain stuck in many ways, many of our positions. I think later in the week, we'll hear some more proposed language that might help some of us get unstuck or some of us less stuck. But I just, we've got the Vermont School Boards Association, Vermont Superintendent Association coming to talk to us about sort of the aftermath of town meeting day votes and their take on things. Think about what our take on things is as well. So, let me just throw out there. Any ideas? Is there testimony that people need now that isn't, is there a testimony people need? Correct.
For a specific bill or?
Well, on let's just sort of wide open to like, hey, we're agenda planning here. It doesn't necessarily have to be specific to Act 73. Yeah.
I don't know that I do yet. After we hear more about what's written in the chronic absentee today and how that all looks, maybe that creates more there. I think so, but I just need to hear more. I haven't read it yet. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's up if anybody wants to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know that Angela Arsenal was scheduled to come in a week ago.
Yeah.
So is that still something we want to do here?
What was the bill number?
But
Is that the media in school?
Yeah.
bill?
Yeah. The opt-out bill.
I'm not sure what the number is.
That to me.
Not either.
I mean, we're not at a point where a bill like that that would require
I think that's what she was.
2 weeks of testimony. But I think we want to offer the opportunity to introduce it.
As a teacher, I feel like that is a huge discussion to move to that kind of thing, and I don't possibly see a way for us to finish that this year.
Agree.
Yeah, because we will get an extension on the work that we are struggling with. We will not get an extension on anything else. It has to be out this year.
Question.
Yes.
So I did receive an email from a constituent who's part of a group of Northeast Kingdom parents who would like to testify at some point in the House and in the Senate Ed committees. They have positions regarding transportation, CTE, choice, things like that, and want to know the process. Should I have her email you and Matt?
I think,
Any of that? Or-
well, I think that probably and I'll get some clarification from leadership. We're probably in need of a public hearing.
Yeah,
Problem that we have is that we haven't agreed on anything.
right.
So it's hard to have a public hearing on something that we haven't agreed upon. So I would say you could tell them that, and to all of you for constituents who are sort of wanting to, please submit something in writing.
Mhm.
And that we are looking at having a public hearing in the not too distant future.
Just want to make sure I respond appropriately to her today. Thank you. Do that later.
Representative Brady?
You'll never believe this. I'm gonna say I need to understand a lot more about the foundation formula. And modeling assumptions, how it works, the impact. And in light of what we heard in public caucus today, I guess I'm concerned about the gravity of decisions being made in a variety of committees, all about one education system. So pre-K is off in one place, commerce is off, CTE is off in another place. I feel very uncomfortable about that. I am worried we're going to be in a position where we're rushed to just say, well, the committee did their work, smile and nod. And as we're looking at the whole system under Act 73, and especially as we think about regional middle and high schools, doing these things piecemeal or in other places is very worrisome to me. And I am concerned about our schedule and the notion that all those things are going to happen in all these other places in a week or two, and boom, it's all going to come together and people will understand, have a chance to weigh in and understand the implications of the decisions that are being made.
All right,
You
so,
missed me.
so,
Had a lot of time to think.
no, but no,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and we've probably all been told various times, like, well, this doesn't happen until this happens, or this happens.
Yep.
But I don't see any reason why we can't just keep hearing that. Because, for example, there's not going to be a comprehensive CTE bill this year that, you know, some of this stuff isn't going to happen this year. And so therefore, you know, how does that affect everybody else's decisions?
But it's my understanding there's a new bill coming out, and I was just told this, I haven't seen it here in.
Yes, I do not believe it talks about funding. It talks about getting started on some steps, like there hasn't been a redo of CTE rules since the 90s or something.
So I'm gonna say I echo, since I've got the floor at the moment, I echo everything that was just said. And I will say on top of that, that I would not be comfortable with updating even rules until we've decided what we're gonna do with CTE and merging that into a middle regional high school system in the state. And so I'm real concerned
Well,
about.
we end up with a lot of chickens and eggs then, for sure.
Yeah, my concerns.
Yeah, so why don't we get Beth and John in here again to sort of walk through the timeline and contingencies again. And then we can sort of ask a lot of the, well, if not this, then that, what happens here if this happens there? I think we probably all benefit from it. That sound reasonable? So let's get them scheduled, maybe starting tomorrow at 9:15, put them in where we have community discussion, and then flop community discussion over to 10:30 or something. Rob?
Am I remembering correctly, that the therapeutic schools thing is part of miscellaneous?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So please, everybody be ready when we have Ledge Council in here with sort of specific questions and concerns and scenarios. All understand where we are. Would we like JFO in as well to talk foundation formula. Great, so let's see if we can get Julia and Ezra in.
Julie, were they supposed to provide us some of the modeling that they've done already? We had a discussion. I mean, I can't remember how that landed. They were going to provide us some of those.
Didn't they say they couldn't do it unless they had?
Well, they had done some modeling.
They told us that originally, but then they didn't do some, I think.
Okay.
Based
I'll
on
have to-
premise.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so to the best that we can, let's just start plugging in time tomorrow, just keep squeezing committee discussion up against lunch. Since it is committee discussion, just with the experts in the room in that case. I worry about us if we get something out the door.
Other,
What will do for the rest of the week?
well, other than that, I think, personally, I think every discussion should be Act 73. I think every time slot should be Act 73.
Well, it is,
discussion,
at this
right?
point, at this point it is.
I mean,
The early college testimony from the Agency of Education. What specifically that would, you guys talked about having them come in. What specific information did you ask for?
I'm gonna go back to my emails on that, but it was, data about, who's using it, what kids, where, sending schools, receiving institutions, again, a concern about, or I have, as well as some other legislators, a concern about sort of disparate use of the program in different parts of the state, and particularly an impact on kind of medium-ish / small-ish schools that are already struggling. We're sort of putting another squeeze on them of pulling out cohorts of kids that then reduces the opportunities further in that existing school. Like, it's come up about, certainly by U32, I think, is kind of, when I looked at the numbers, that one jumped off the charts in terms of the dramatic increase. Hazen, Leland and Gray, a few places. And the, my guess is we're not in a place to make a policy change on it this year. But I think, again, we're overdue for an Act 77 full flexible pathways kind of reevaluation of what's working, what's not, like do the work I think the legislature should be doing more regularly, which is instead of just creating new things every day, but look back at the work we've done and the implementation of it and see and look at early college, dual enrollment. The landscape of higher ed and online courses has changed dramatically since Act 77 even passed. So I guess it's informational and probably leading us to a report,
Well, yeah, I don't mean.
or a study, something to then have some more work and some stakeholder engagement on, to be able to start to look at more carefully maybe next year. That would be.
So just on a
Timely.
timing point of view, if we want to report back, what should be in that report back?
Also, just to piggyback on that, just wondering about the cost. What's coming out of the ed fund for the early college.
Yeah, well, it's right there on the an Outlook page, yeah.
Okay, just say, you might have been first. I think you were first.
I mean, I was just gonna tag on to Representative Brady and say it's, in addition to being hard on small schools, it's also important to know that it's sort of self-perpetuating, in which as the schools become smaller, they become even smaller because no one wants to be there with a class of 2 seniors.
Yeah, so I heard that from utility.
And mine relates to that
Yeah.
to some degree. What I think we don't know, because I don't think we've looked at it, is how many schools are offering additional dual enrollment credits to prevent losing bodies out of the school.
I did.
So I hear it anecdotally more than I thought I would. And I think it's happening quite a bit. And so I think that's a sign that we've got an issue.
Question, is dual enrollment generally done at the high school? Or is dual
A mix.
enrollment? It's a mix.
It's a real mix.
In my
I thought
area,
it was
We're starting to do more at
Yeah.
campuses, but it's a real mix.
Yeah.
It's online, it's
But
as
it's
we speak.
enrolls.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
The money stays with the kid, but the other thing is that if it is online and they're like in another room, that's still not necessarily like an on-campus, a robust on-campus in-classroom community learning experience is ideal.
The other thing that was interesting is we have heard various policy discussions about who's enrolled and who isn't enrolled when they're in early college. So we had the kids from Montpelier, I think, or some group, and they're like, "Oh no, we're still enrolled. We can go do sports." And I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be unenrolled. I totally understand why schools do it. It's great.
I think it,
And then how does it affect graduation rates? Because we're re-enrolling right at the last moment.
My real world experience with it wasn't what I was hearing from some of the students.
So of being unenrolled.
Right, correct, and being able to still be active in certain parts of the school day and stuff, so I was a little confused by that.
I think it also falls under this basket of in the swirl of Act 73 and like we're changing everything. We're also neglecting a whole lot of sort of incremental things and issues that have been on our radar, have come up. This is not the first time in terms of early college. So, I guess it leads us back to the existential question here of incremental change and something or adjustments if needed. Maybe there is, or maybe there isn't in college, but I think there's several things like that versus something entirely different. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does, I think as you pointed out previously, it does sort of circle back to scale. And if you aren't a high school that can offer a lot, all of a sudden you start losing kids to early college and you really can't offer much.
Right. But if we're in this interim period, the things we're doing or not doing are impacting things happening in the field, and that's going to have a lasting impact. And so if we lose kids from the system, if schools lose opportunities, if they lose, community buy-in in the next couple of years or are doing it now, that matters. We're not just starting from scratch. If we end up with new districts, that doesn't go away.
So it does not go away.
So I guess that's my fear of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, it's been a topic of conversation since I've been here. Because it obviously for the kids who take advantage of it and enjoy it, it's a great benefit. For the state college system, it's a great financial benefit. It already exists, so you're taking away a program. That's the hard stuff.
To be fair, though, high school already exists and we're losing programs really fast because of the early college program. And we're taking those opportunities away from kids that don't have the option for their own college.
No argument for me, but this is just why it's so hard.
Just phase that. I mean,
Yeah, I have very strong feelings about keeping the early college options. I think, as we should, we do a lot of work, again, as we should, to bring the students that might need extra help to provide for them and bring them up to where they should be. We do very, very little for the students that are advanced and stuck in a situation that might not be good for them and needing to move forward. So that's just kind of my other side argument.
Right, yeah, well.
But we don't usually.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start the debate. Yeah, yes, I have
But I think it just goes to show that, how hard it is, especially when we've overall had a strong flexible pathways philosophy. And it is a flexible pathway. Yeah. All right, so really, we're not going to solve it between now and Friday. However, if there are thoughts on what a study on this should look like, it would be from the AOE. We should do that for a report. Anything else? Take 5 back at 2, and we'll start right up.